Jesus Christ, it's cold.
Can I help you?
Whew. We come seeking shelter.
Well, do you have any money for that?
Well, no, we're not very liquid right now.
Then, really sorry. Can't help you with that. Please close the door on the way out. Thanks.
Wait. I have something else that you'll find much more valuable.
Like what?
Money is temporary, but stories are eternal. Have you ever heard the tale of Amiwaki Hito? Let me regale you. On a dark and stormy night, a giant snake approached a wealthy family's mansion, demanding one of the lord's daughters and that a house be built for him, threatening to kill all of them if these terms were not met. And he ate a servant as a warning and promised to return the next night. Distraught, the lord gathered his daughters, who all unsurprisingly refused, except the youngest, who volunteered herself. The next night she spent with the serfs in the house that he had demanded her father to build. Expecting the worst, she closed her eyes as the serpent unhinged his jaws.
Cut off my head.
What?
Cut it off.
Cut off your head.
Yeah. Just cut it off with whatever you got.
There was a brief silence, but she agreed and reached into her pocket to find only a pair of nail clippers. And snip, 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 she cut off the giant serpent's head, and from its decapitated corpse, a man emerged. A devilishly handsome man. And he explained himself to actually be the Dragon King from the ocean, his name, Amiwaki Hito. He put the rest of the snakeskin in a beautiful chest, and they laid together, as attractive people do, becoming husband and wife right there on the spot. After they spent a few happy weeks together, Amiwaki Hito explained that he needed to go away for a few weeks to the heavens. He told her not to open the chest, lest he never be able to return to the mortal realm, and just in case to buy a gourd from a woman in town and plant it. With that, he left. As the weeks progressed, the younger daughter's two older sisters arrived at her house, surprised she wasn't actually dead, and finding the house to be much more lavish than their own. They were quickly filled with jealousy, and spotting the ornately decorated chest, they ordered the younger sister to open it for them. She promptly refused and angered the two. The middle sibling then held her back as the oldest ripped the key from her hand and unlocked the chest, much to the youngest dismay. Eagerly looking inside, they found it was completely empty, only a small trail of smoke emitting from the chest, and they left. Terrified of what this might mean, she purchased the gourd from the woman in the town and planted it in the ground. Its vines stretched up into the sky and higher than the very forest. As she began to climb, determined to find her man, she hesitated for a bit, as she might never see her family ever again. Never mind. And she determinedly climbed up the vines, maybe a little bit faster. Once she made it to the top, she was in awe at the city and the clouds before her. Walking around, she met the literal stars she saw up in the night sky who gave her directions, and she pretty easily reunited with Amiwaki Hito, and they lived happily ever after. Just one problem, Amiwaki Hiko said. My daddy is actually an Oni, and he really hates humans, so I'll have to hide you whenever he comes around. And so Amiwaki Hiko would disguise his wife as various objects like a pillow or a fan so his father wouldn't catch notice, though he began to get suspicious when he sat on his chair in which she happened to be disguised as the armchair, and stated that it smelled like human in here. And once he finally realized the truth, he was outraged. Amiwaki Hiko stepped in, explaining the situation, and his father decided he'd give her a trial. He told her to look after his 1,000 cattle, and having no idea how to take care of cattle, Amiwaki Hiko stepped in and gave her the sleeves of his kimono. Not knowing what to do either, she just gave him a dumbfounded look, and he told her to wave his sleeves around at the cattle, and they would do her bidding. Trying it out, with just a wave of the sleeve, the cattle did exactly as she said. The Oni came back gobsmacked that she actually completed it, and believing it was fate, he allowed her to visit Amiwaki Hiko once a month.
Once a year. Yes, once a year.
Yeah, once a year. So now when you actually see the star Vega and the star Altair align every once a year, those are actually the two lovers, reuniting once more. What, that's not worth a room? Fine, tough crowd.
Ever heard of the saying that goes, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned"? No? Oh yeah, I forgot, we're in Japan. Okay, but is there anything else scarier than an angry woman? The ghost of an angry woman? Well, if you're scared of that, then that must suck, because do not look behind you. The Onryo are a ghost type of yokai that are the spirits of dead women who were wronged, traumatized, and furious about the unfolded events in their past life. These events can range from murder, betrayal, or suicide. Onryo are dangerous yokai because they can cause harm to the living by injuring, killing, and even causing natural disasters. I mean, did you see that tsunami last week? Somebody made their dead wife mad. Sorry. Because Onryo spirits are so full of bitterness and anger, they can cast grudge curses upon others. However, not all of these curses are born out of resentment and ill will. Some curses are born from passionate love that is eventually turned into jealousy. These jealous Onryo haunt their former lovers if they find a new romance, marriage, or have children. A famous Onryo tale is the ghost of Oiwa, a tragic story about a woman named Oiwa who was given a cream to treat her illness, only for it to be poisoned and leave her face horribly disfigured. When she saw her reflection for the first time, she was horrified and tried covering it with her hair, only for it to fall out in clumps. In a fit of madness, she grabbed a sword and stabbed herself to death, cursing her husband's name until her very last breath. Now, you might be thinking, why did she curse her husband? Well, that's because he grew tired of Oiwa and began to show interest in the granddaughter of the doctor who lived next door. The poison cream was the granddaughter's doing. So ladies, if you've ever been wronged by a man, don't worry! Now's your chance at revenge!
If you have ever heard of Japanese folktale, then you probably know this story. Amaterasu was the sun goddess of the oldest Japanese religion. When her brother treated her badly, she hid in a cave of heaven and closed the entrance with an enormous stone. This made the world dark, and evil spirits came out of their hiding places. In despair, a conference of gods decided to play a trick on her into coming out by having a party near the cave. They put a big mirror in front of the cave entrance and beautiful jewels on the tree. Uzumi, the goddess of laughter, began to dance accompanied by loud music. Upon hearing the music and laughter, Amaterasu was so curious that she took a look outside to find out what was going on. She was so fascinated by her own bright reflection in the mirror that she came out of the cave. Finally, the light covered and colored the world. Japan celebrates her by holding a week-long festival called the Golden Week. It is a time that the sun goddess herself is honored. It's a national holiday in Japan and is a busy and exciting time with many festivals and celebrations.